What is going on, everybody? We're back. We're back with another pickup video. And you guys, in the last one, I explicitly said, I hope it's not another 6 months until the next one. And I done goofed, because that was 6 months ago. And so we got a lot of stuff to go through. But let me tell you guys, it's been a crazy year for your boy. It has been an insane year, probably the craziest year of my life, in a good way. So I know the YouTube content has been a little bit of a slow crawl, but I think we should be able to get back to our regular pace, and we do have a lot of exciting stuff happening soon. You know, we just got back from EVO. We're going to PAX next weekend, which is going to be awesome. And in October, I haven't formally announced it yet, but we're doing something crazy that I've always wanted to do. So, anyways, let's just dive into the pickups. So we got some new stuff, we got some old stuff. So let's just go through. This is how long it's been. I was looking through, like, because I had like all of my stuff piled up from like the stuff that was pending to be on a pickup video, right? And there was stuff in there that was new at the time, but now it's not super new. So we got like, oh god, I'm dropping shit. Hogwarts Legacy, right? This was a massive game. I forgot that this game came out this year, okay? And I haven't even played it yet. This was, my fiance really wanted to play it, and she's a huge Harry Potter fan, so, but you know what, I like Harry Potter too. That's like my generation, you know? I was like 10 years old when those books started to come out. So, I do want to play that at some point. Next, continuing with the PS5 stuff, I'm actually playing this game right now. Well, I mean, not right now, but that's Final Fantasy 16. It's kind of like what I'm currently playing. And you know what? I'm actually enjoying it more than I thought I would. The story especially, it is like a very story... I mean, a lot of the Final Fantasy games are, right? Very story heavy, very story focused. But here's the thing. I like Final Fantasy, but I usually find their stories to be nonsensical bullshit. But this one actually gripped me like right away, and I was super into it. It's very Game of Thrones inspired, but in a good way. They take like the things that are good about Game of Thrones and they Final Fantasy-ify it, you know? Next, we also got, still wrapped, we got No More Heroes 3 for PS5. This is the Day 1 edition. I don't even know what's in here, but it looks cool. I love the artwork, love No More Heroes. And I heard the game was not great on Switch. So playing it on PS5 might be a better experience. What else we got? New stuff. We started playing this through on the channel. We streamed it. This is Metroid Prime Remastered. So good. It's so much more than a remaster too. They call it a remaster, but it's like, it's a remake, really. Like, sure, they might use like some original code and it's like, you know, the structure is all the same, but it completely, like, visually is completely different. And gameplay-wise, they've added so many quality of life things. Best way to play. We also got... I'm also playing this right now, too, on my Switch. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. So good, dude. I love the Advance Wars games. This is a compilation of Advance Wars 1 and 2. Advance Wars 2, probably the best one in the series, right? Even with the DS games, Days of Ruin's really cool as well. The thing is with this one, is they go with a very different art style. Very different art style. It's very like... They all kind of look like toy soldiers, you know? It's got a very like plasticky look to it all. Which I understand why they did it, right? But the original pixel art is so good and I just can't be beaten, in my opinion. Next, this my fiance is playing right now. That is Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. You gotta have it, right? It's one of those things that came out a few months ago now, and I'm gonna play it, okay? But I'm so reluctant to start it, because I'm just like, this game's gonna take me fucking 100 hours. Do I got 100 hours? No. Granted, I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 right now, but you can actually plow through that game in like 30 hours. Anyways, next on the Switch, still in its shrink wrap, we got Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. Pocky and Rocky's like a Super Nintendo game, Super Famicom, SNES game, and it's a really, really awesome, like, isometric, kind of like bullet hell game. It's so good. The art style is amazing. Really, really, really cool game. And dude, the original like Super Nintendo games, they're so expensive. The carts are so expensive. So I'm just like, yo, they got it all repackaged on the Switch. Physical edition, I'm getting that shit. You know what's funny is like, this is just what I got physically. I was thinking about that. I'm just like, man, we also played through Dead Space. We got Resident Evil 4 remake. You know, I played through Callisto Protocol recently. I get all these games digitally. Street Fighter 6. Whatever. Alright, moving on. We got, not super exciting, but cables, dude. These are the HD Retrovision cables for the Super Nintendo. It basically gives your Super Nintendo component video out, which taps into the RGB signal, and it looks, you guys, it looks insane. It looks absolutely insane. When it comes to the world of analog video, you gotta have good cables. Okay, next, we got, now this is cool. Now this all started when I wanted to play a game called Pokemon Conquest, which is a DS game, okay? And so I booted up my 3DS, popped in my old cart, and I'm just like, wow, this game looks like trash. I couldn't believe how bad the game looked, and it's not the fault of the game, it's the 3DS. I know that the 3DS is backwards compatible with DS games, which is amazing, but you guys, do a side-by-side comparison. DS games look like trash on the 3DS. So I picked up a DSi XL, the yellow one. Oh, dude, and it's glorious. So like playing this next to my 3DS XL was like a night and day difference. It just like properly is proportioned, if that makes any goddamn sense. So when they play the 3DS games, like, it just doesn't scale right into the screen, so it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, but on the actual native DS screen, the pixels are super sharp. Everything looks incredible. I love the form factor of the DSi XL. So good. You can still get these for super cheap too. It's insane. If you're into the DS, which I have been recently, I suggest picking up a DSi XL. Okay, next. We went, this was back in February. This was like back right after I did my last pickup video. I ended up going to like a convention here in Vancouver, and they had like this little game booth, and I was like, oh cool, let's check it out. And they actually had some stuff that was a pretty good deal. So we picked up Transformers Fall of Cybertron. I picked up War for Cybertron in the last video. So literally like right after I made that video, I went to the con and I found a copy of Fall of Cybertron for a really good price. Because these games are not super cheap anymore because they're stranded on the PS3 360 generation. You can't buy them anymore. They're not on PC anymore. So definitely good ones to have physically on the PS3 or 360. Super awesome game. Next, we also got from that same booth, last video we're talking about how I went down an Onimusha rabbit hole. Well, we picked up Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, which is a very different Onimusha game. It really like goes full RPG, not full RPG, but goes more into the RPG elements. Yeah, it's a very different game compared to Onimusha 1, 2, and 3. Which is why they don't technically call it Onimusha 4. It's Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. Super cool game though. And then the last thing we picked up from that convention was on the Super Nintendo. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, dude. This is a fighting game with obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters, and it's actually a pretty decent fighting game. The Super Nintendo, obviously Street Fighter was blowing up at the time. There was a lot of copycat fighting games. Everyone was trying to get a piece of the action, right? But this one's actually good. It's made by Konami, rips off a bunch of Street Fighter characters. Like, there's characters like Shredder controls like M. Bison. He's like M. Bison with like Balrog mixed in. And then like Leo plays like Ryu. They knew what they were doing. You know what I mean? But that's not a bad thing, right? The game still is really fun and it looks incredible. Love the pixel art. Next, I picked these up from my local game shop, and this is on the old PlayStation 2. I have never played any of the Sly Cooper games, so we picked up Sly Cooper and Thievius Raccoonus, dude. These games actually hold up well visually because they have like a cel-shaded art style and it looks insane. We also picked up Sly 2, Band of Thieves. We also picked up Sly 3, Honor Among the Thieves. So we got the Sly PS2 trilogy. They look insane. I love the artwork. Look at this cover, dude. So cool. I love it. Next. Okay, finally. So, back, it was 3 months ago now, we went over to the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo. And we went last year as well. I was expecting it to be like this dinky little convention, but it's just like, hey, there's a lot of people here. And there's actually tons of vendors, tons of booths. I dragged my poor fiance to go and look at retro video games for several hours. So at the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo, the whole event is hosted by a local game shop called Game Deals. And every year they have this huge liquidation table where they sell everything for super cheap. Now there usually is a lot of shovelware and garbage on the table, but it's a massive table and you can find some diamonds in the rough. And they sell everything for $5 each, and then later in the day, we knew this, they sell everything for $2 a piece. So the strategy is you go in and you try to find any of the diamonds in the rough, pick it up at $5, and if there's any other kind of smaller titles you want, pick it up for $2. So there's a lot of trash here, but let's go. Let's go through it. So we got some PS3 games. We got The Darkness, okay? Now, there's a lot here, so I'm not going to talk too much about each one, but it's a cool kind of horror first-person shooter. We picked up Army of Two. It's like a third-person shooter, completely co-op. Pretty cool game. I remember it at the time, and I actually never played it. We picked up, in rough shape, Call of Juarez, dude. Bound in Blood. It's a first-person kind of spaghetti western, you know. We picked up Call of Juarez, the Cartel. My friend Bear was there with me. He's making fun of me. He's like, every time we passed like a booth that had a copy of Call of Juarez, he's like, yo, Bertel, go pick up that copy of Call of Juarez, dude. We picked up Medieval Moves. I'm actually secretly a fan of the PlayStation Move. I think it's neat. Okay, we've got The Saboteur, which was actually a pretty good one because this game was selling at other booths for like $20. We got Dante's Inferno. Now this is made by Visceral Games, rest in peace. Really good studio. It's like a third-person action game. It's kind of God of War. It's very God of War, but obviously in the Dante's Inferno kind of universe that they got. And I remember this game at the time. It was all controversial. They're definitely pushing some boundaries with that one. We got Hot Shots Golf, Out of Bounds. I really like the Hot Shots games. There's like the Hot Shots Tennis, Hot Shots Golf. I don't know. They were fun PlayStation games. We got Mirror's Edge. I actually don't have a copy of Mirror's Edge until now. I really like the original one. Super, super good. We got Max Payne 3. Rockstar Games presents. Now this one was I think it's the only Max Payne game that wasn't developed by Remedy, right? But I think they did a really good job with it, and I've always heard good things. We got Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. I love Undead Nightmare, and this is like the standalone Undead Nightmare game that you can just pop in. It just boots you straight in to Undead Nightmare without like the original Red Dead campaign. Man, what a thing at the time, right? You had Red Dead Redemption, came out in like 2010. It was this massive game, huge success, one of my favorite games ever. And then they just like did this crazy zombie mode. I love the original artwork on it. So sick. So up my alley, dude. It just got re-released. The timing, dude. Okay, my friend Bear gave this to me. I'm pretty sure as a joke. We got UFC Undisputed with your boy GSP on the front cover. 2009. Holy, I remember playing this game a lot back in the day. And my camera just turned off. What happened? Okay, next. That's it for the PS3 games. And you know what? I think my PS3 library is insane. I think it's insane. I don't even know what else we could add to it. I think it's like probably my most like robust library. You know what I'm saying? Okay, next. We got PS2 games. So we'll quickly just go through the ones that I picked up from the $2 table. We got really good game, Hitman 2. Probably the best Hitman game. Well, of that era. You know, I haven't played the new ones, to be fair. It's Hitman 2 Silent Assassin. Next, we got Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. So this one, as you can see, was made by Remedy. They're all published by Rockstar, but super cool game. Very, very much of the time. We got Ready to Rumble, Round 2 Boxing. You know what's funny is I had the original Ready to Rumble on the N64 back in the day. Forever ago, dude. And I never played the second one, which is crazy. And yeah, it's not great. Next, this is the last one from the $2 table. We got Star Wars Battlefront from the Pandemic Studio. Such a classic. The OG Star Wars Battlefront. So good. Battlefront 1 and 2, I think they still hold up, too. They're actually still fun to just pop in and play. Okay, a few more games here, guys. We're getting there. So we're walking through the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo. The rest of the pickups are all from there, by the way. And I was telling my friend Bear, I was like, you know what I really am looking for? And I can't find anywhere, dude. That's a copy of Street Fighter EX3. And literally, I willed it into existence. Moments after mentioning it, we found it like buried amongst a stack of games at one of the vendors. Street Fighter EX3. This is a Capcom game, but it's not developed by Capcom. So the Street Fighter EX games were actually developed by a company called Arika. And they're very different. It's like a 3D art style, but it's so jank. It's such a crazy game. There's like tags. You can do 2v2 at the same time. It's such an insane game. This is one of those ones where it's like, okay, you know how fighting games are played? Forget everything you know and just fucking have fun. Street Fighter EX3, it's actually a pretty fun game. This is one that I've been looking for because a few videos ago, we picked up Neo Contra. But this time, we picked up Contra Shattered Soldier. Arguably the better Contra game on the PS2. Just the music is sick. It's super hard. It's classic old school Contra. You love to see it. Now, horror games on the PS2 are for some reason very sought after. They're crazy expensive. They're so expensive, dude. I don't know what it is. So I found one there that I wanted, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna buy it, and that is Siren on the PS2. These games are crazy. They're very interesting. They're very unique. And they're like, they give you like different kinds of scenarios and you gotta try to survive. They're super cool. They're super cool. I would love to play through it on the channel at some point. Okay, next. So I went over to this table and they had a bunch of GameCube games, and I haven't added anything to the GameCube collection in a while because it's so expensive, dude. It was like the GameCube prices, especially after the pandemic, they just got super inflated and it was nuts. So I was looking at this dude's table and he had stuff priced and it was like, yeah, that's what I expect GameCube games to be priced at. And then he hits me with one of these. He's like, all games 50% off. I was like, excuse me? So a lot of the GameCube games I actually already had, but there was one of them that I've been looking for a long time. It's a big one, and that is Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door. I know Player's Choice version, I don't give a shit. It's the same game. Complete, I open, I'm just like, complete, the disc is gone. It's because it's actually in my GameCube right now. Yeah, super good game. This is probably the best Paper Mario game. One of the better like Mario RPGs. Obviously the Super Nintendo one is a classic, but Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door is amongst one of the best. Okay, a few more games here, guys. So one of the things you got to do when you go to like these gaming expos and stuff, because you know they'll have marked prices, but you gotta barter a little bit, right? I'm a pretty like a reluctant haggler, you know what I mean? But when you're buying multiple items, that's when you can usually get a deal, and that's when I feel most comfortable doing it. So I went to a booth and picked up some N64 games. And first up, we got Pokemon Puzzle League. Now, I had never played this game back in the day, but I love Pokemon, I love puzzle games, and I popped it in, and I was shocked. Because a few videos ago, I was talking about how we got super addicted to a game called Tetris Attack. And Pokemon Puzzle League is literally a reskin of Tetris Attack. It's the same game, dude. It's the exact same game, just with Pokemon aesthetics. So I felt it felt a little cheap to me, right? But goddamn, it's Tetris Attack. Next, we gotta love the red card. We got Spider-Man for the Nintendo 64. I love the original Spider-Man game. Now, it was probably better on the Dreamcast. It was probably even better on the PS1. But I played this game back in the day on the N64. And it, you know what? I was mucking around. I was playing it. I was like, the game's obviously old. It's pretty jank. But it's still got a charm to it. And I played a bunch. And, you know, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I get why I liked this game so much when I was a kid. Okay, guys, last game of the video, last pickup, and this is one that I've been wanting for a very long time. This is Conker's Bad Fur Day. This was like my big pickup of the convention, and I specifically went there looking for a copy because I'm just like, man, I know we've been working on the N64 collection. We've made a lot of progress on the N64 collection, but Conker is one that I needed to have. It must be in the collection, so I'm really happy that we picked up. We got it really clean copy too. Really clean, no bullshit on it, and popped it in, plays perfectly, and man, this game, it's I love it, dude. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's a 3D platformer from Rare, but it's, I mean, I'm sure you guys know at this point, it's just so vulgar and so over the top that you just have to love it. It's so like, it's so immature. You got giant poo monsters, all this stupid bullshit. It's like a teenage kid's fucking game. If you gave him the wheel and like, all right, make a 3D platformer, Conker is what he would make. And to me, I don't know, there's something kind of fun about that. But anyways, you guys, that's it. That is it for the pickups. Holy, it was a big one. We had a lot. Hopefully it won't be another 6 months until the next one. And we'll be back with more YouTube content very soon, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.